After seeing the distortions, you need to decide if you want to continue letting your life be organized by them. In this podcast, I expose my life, the distortions I spent years living in and mistaking for who I was. I invite you to confront what you've normalized and choose differently, so you can build a reality you fall in love with. Today in Undistorted Self. It's a tough question. I remember when I saw all the distortions I was living by, everything I was calling life, it's a lot to take in. And it never all comes at once. You don't see clearly, boom, at once. It comes in levels. You have to start noticing all the little things around you, how the relationships around you are built, how your work, your hobbies, your life, pretty much how your reality is built, and start observing the mechanisms on how it works and your role in it as well. For me, the hardest thing to accept or come into terms was my role in all the structures around me and how I had kept them alive or functioning the way that they were. Because we always play our role. Life doesn't really happen to us. It happens with us. And knowing my role, the role I was playing in different structures around me, allowed me to question if I wanted to continue playing that same role. So the first thing I did when I saw the distortions for what they were was figure out how I actually wanted to be treated, or how I wanted the dynamic to really be, what it actually meant to, not betray myself, be compensated fairly. And I started advocating for myself. So the first most important thing is to remember you have agency. You have complete agency over your life. And when I say agency, I don't mean control everything in every aspect in your life, force outcomes. No. When I say agency, I mean the capacity to choose your next action. And you get to choose. The more you know where you're standing and the reality around you, once you've demystified, remove all the lies, you get to choose from actual knowing. When I was in the position of choosing what I did in my life, what I did next, I decided to advocate for myself. So first, I actually asked to get compensated better, and I wasn't afraid to leave. So for the first time, I had already asked before to be paid better in the startup, but this time I set the exact number the minimum number that I was going to be allowed, that I was going to allow to be paid, or I was walking away. I was not negotiating, and because I had done it for years and it never worked in my favor. So I literally held a call and I said, I'm either getting paid this amount or I'm leaving. And it was the first time, it sounds crazy, but I was holding on so much to the idea or the purpose that the startup was giving me, that even knowing how much it was extracting from me, I kept letting it happen because I was afraid to walk away. Until finally, I said, I need to respect myself. I cannot expect others to respect me if I'm not doing it for myself. So I chose to act. And I wasn't afraid of leaving. And I'm sharing this because a lot of what keeps us from acting after we see is the fear if that what we're asking for is not going to be met. Meaning they're either the other thing, the structure, whatever, they're going to leave us, fire us, or we're going to have to walk away, etc. And the first thing is to coming into terms that if that does happen, because you cannot control the outcome, you cannot keep expecting and hoping that maybe that person realizes the mistake they made or how they hurt you and they come and say sorry. Sadly, what I've learned in my life that a lot of the times you're not gonna get nearly enough apologies as you actually deserve. So stop waiting for the apology or stop waiting for the other person to change or choose. Waiting is not doing you anything good. Most of the people just adapt. The longer time passes, they're not contemplating that maybe I'm gonna start seeing the value, maybe I'm gonna start. No, they just adapt and they wait it out for as long as you or whoever is, being extracted from lasts. So first you need to come into terms with the fact that you advocating for yourself might not work out. You might not be compensated the way you would. Maybe the person is going to break up with you. Maybe you're going to be fired, etc. That is a possibility. But again, anything that asks you to betray yourself is not life and definitely does not deserve you. So it's not worth staying with something that is costing you yourself. And you'll be surprised what you can create and do once you stop holding on to something that is dragging you down with it. Removing things that are actually distorted and contaminated is literally feels like taking a huge weight off your shoulders. You get to breathe and feel lighter. Your energy's lighter. Getting some creativity back or motivation to do different things and excitement, and your life is worth doing that. So the best thing in order to really stop organizing your life around distortion is truly working on the relationship with yourself. That's the best thing, to stop excusing the inexcusable. Is you need to trust yourself, love yourself, believe in yourself, see your value, see your worth. So a lot of the general healing work, it's good to get those reminders. And it's funny that for me, the best reminders to actually see my value and how worthy I was well, not only by seeing results of what I was capable of creating. So yes, I recommend obviously getting evidence that it's in favor of you, showing how capable you are, and all of that helps you trust yourself more and know how valuable you are, for sure. But it was also, I started seeing my worth and my value by realizing how much I had been compensating for how broken everything, like not only the structures in the startup, but generally my life and how efficient, like all the things that I had built. I was like, wow, if you can be that strategic and do all of that, you're gonna make it. You can do pretty much anything. You didn't need to keep staying in something as if no other opportunity is gonna come your way. That is not helping you. Definitely not. And there's things you need to watch out for, because sometimes seeing the distortion, not only we're afraid of the outcome, we might also get trapped by the idea of waiting or hoping, always waiting and hoping that your investment is going to be returned, and you feel like walking away is giving up on everything you already put, like all the effort you already put into something. That's how I felt, and that's why I didn't want to walk away from the startup at the beginning. I didn't want to create that ultimatum because I had invested way too much effort and I was afraid of leaving empty-handed. But no investment is worth you investing more in order to stay waiting for an investment that will never come. Hope that makes sense. I walked away empty-handed. Yeah, it was annoying, but I don't regret the decision, not even a single day. And I would used to say this expression is, how do you expect to grow a beautiful flower in a rotten garden? And I would refer to the startup as rotten. Everything in it died. It was insanely toxic. And the energy, like the way it was draining me was dark. It was draining the life out of me. While you can stay and continue participating in distortion and all those distortion things, really ask yourself how much it is costing you. And costing is not just financial, it's also energetic. So how much of your life force is being consumed by all of these distortions, or by you compensating for what these distortions are lacking? Because then you'll start noticing how walking away is going to be a lot less costly. The other big confusing thing is I left all those things, right? So this is after you decide to start choosing. I started to see if anything was going to meet me. Nothing did. So I was like, all right, goodbye. Bye. And I left and all of that. And it depends. I'm not saying just go and leave right now. No, I am saying test, like figure out how can that structure not require you to keep betraying yourself anymore? How can it work with you? See if it does want to collaborate with you, because maybe some partnership, and I mean relationships too, if something is not working, talk to your partner. Maybe they work with you to make that thing work, and you can make it work together. That's a possibility. Same with work. Maybe they did be like, no, we're promoting you, we don't want to lose you, etc. Like that is also a possibility. So test it. I did that with a startup, and when I did that ultimatum, they did actually raise what I was being paid, and then I was seeing how much I could stay there. So I finally got paid a little bit more reasonable amount. So then I was using that as an excuse. So I kept longer, but then I also started realizing that nothing I said to like what needed to change, and my opinion, all of it was like ignored, through to the trash. Like nothing was growing with me. I had the illusion that it was going to grow with me, and it really wasn't. And thankfully, I knew my value very clearly at that moment. And I thought, okay, if by this month, nothing has actually changed, because I already did everything that I had to do. I spoke my mind. I literally said everything that I was wrong. Like I fully exposed everything. So I gave it time to see if it grew, if it evolved. It didn't, and I walked away. So what I'm saying is, give it an opportunity. See if things would change with you. If they don't, walk away. Don't be afraid of leaving. If they fire you, they fire you. If they end the relationship, they end the relationship. You're better off without it. You're better off without anything that asks you to betray yourself. Okay? And when I left everything, I was fully valuing myself, worth, all that stuff. I still saw life as if it was something external, that it was going to suddenly start meeting me or being fair to me. It's like I did everything right, I deserve to be rewarded. Well, that didn't happen. I started getting an unlucky streak. Like it was a lot of crazy things would happen one after the other, or little disappointments here and there, and some not so little, and I couldn't believe it. I thought that life was punishing me, that I had done something wrong. And thankfully, that's when I started thinking of like seeing life as the board game, as separate, so I didn't keep putting the blame and the reward and expecting life to compensate me versus not, and be more, okay, all those things happen, yeah, a little too close to each other, but there's they're coming from very broken structures, a lot of broken systems. So there was a lot of money, literally financial issues and issues that I got in one after the other. And they were not life doing it to me. It was the broken systems failing to execute correctly. And I'm also telling you this because you might think that the moment you start seeing clearly, advocate for yourself and all of that, you're going to be rewarded. Or, yeah, you're going to be met or celebrated or whatever, and it might not happen. It really might not happen. But you have to keep moving because you're not doing this to be rewarded by life. You're doing this to actually live the life that you want for yourself. To really see clearly, not have to justify everything or combine a bunch of partial things for your life to feel meaningful. You can actually choose to create a meaningful life. So I hope this helps. And I want to ask you, now that you know you can choose, what's your next action?